Main theme of How I Met Your Mother is relationships. The first 3 episodes were about building all types of relationships from marriage to friendships. The main character, Ted, and narrator, is a die-hard romantic with the only goal of finding his true love. Marshall's a student in law school. Personality-wise, he's the opposite of Lily. He would be described as a giant teddy bear who would do anything for her. Lily's a preschool teacher who's very outspoken. She would be described as aggressive and assertive, but she is also madly in love with Marshall. Barney is a girl's man. He knows how to turn any scenario into a pickup scheme and can sweet-talk any girl into sleeping with Robin. Robin is a dog lover of 5 dogs to be exact and is a news reporter. She's dedicated to her career and her career only. The main 2 sets of this series took place in Ted, Lily, and Marshall's apartment and their local pub, McLaren's. The first episode was a basic pilot that introduced all the main characters. Though the episode did begin with Ted telling his children that they would be hearing the story of how he meets their mother, turned out to be how he met Aunt Robin. The group of friends represent a primary group, which is usually small and is made up of individuals who generally engage face-to-face in long-term emotional ways. All the main characters tend to be very open and very dependent of each other. Great example would be when everyone convinced Ted that he should go kiss Robin, and he couldn't leave without everyone else coming along. Sexual orientation was also introduced in this series because of the main character, Barney. Barney is displayed as a ladies' man and is sex crazed for any hottie that may be around, but the actor Neil is actually homosexual. Marriage patterns also play a huge role in the series. Lily and Marshall begin the episode as cohabitant, which is a couple that shares residence, but not a marriage, though the beginning of this episode was also about how Marshall was planning to propose to Lily. Ted also expresses how he wishes to have the same type of relationship as his friends. He is constantly comparing his relationship to his friends. One of the way he does this is using the olive theory. His idea is people either love olives or they hate them, right? Very few undecideds out there. So here's a spooky thing I've observed. In every relationship, there's an olive lover and an olive hater. It's like positive and negative ions. Perfect symbiosis. Marshall being the hater, Lily the lover. Episode 2, Lily told Ted that Robin is looking for something less serious and more casual, so Ted sets a plan to be the perfect casual guy. Ted ends up throwing 3 parties, just so Robin can show up to one of them to impress her. In the end, Ted and Robin decide to stay friends. Marriage is a pattern shown in this episode. When Ted shows he's desperately trying to skip the dating and jump into marriage, I don't know, I just have this feeling she's the future Miss Toby. Well, according to this theory, marriage will continue to be delayed as more people place education and career ahead of settling down. Career was the reason for these 2 remaining friends. Robin confessed that she does have feeling for him, but he wants too much too soon. I don't want to get married right now, maybe ever. Look, I'm sorry, I only moved here in April and I'm always working. Sexuality appears in this episode when Barney exposes how cruel he could be towards women when he plays his games. During Ted's parties, he meets a girl that he thinks he'll only be meeting once, and he charmed her into sleeping with her, but she kept coming back. Barney uses Ted's methods of dealing with women. I was trying to think, what's the quickest way of getting rid of a girl you just met? I think I'm in love with you. This episode proves how little Barney cares for a woman. The posse also shows their primary group characteristics when Marshall allows Ted to throw 3 parties when he had a 25-pager due by the end of the weekend. Also when Barney tried to help Ted realize Robin wasn't the one. The 3rd episode was a night that was supposed to take place in their usual pub took a turn of events when Barney convinces Ted to shake it up by licking the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. Sexual attitudes and practices related to this episode when Lily and Robin were at the pub, Robin was continuously being hit on while Lily was feeling left out and wanted to be noticed. So she took off her ring. She even called Marshall during the girls' night and said, "I'm just talking to guys' backs," while they hit on Robin. She might have done this because she wanted to feel just as wanted as Robin. Individuals are socialized to sexual attitudes by their family, education system, peers, media, and region. But as soon as a guy hit on her, she immediately told the gentleman that she is happily married, and she isn't sure why she even took her ring off. When this show aired, Neil was already publicly announcing his sexuality, and the character he chooses to play was a heterosexual player. Yet during these last 3 episodes, he's constantly dropping homosexual jokes. For example, during episode 1, Ted was unsure if he wanted to kiss Robin. Barney kissed Marshall and said he didn't need a signal in order to kiss anyone. In episode 3, he told Ted, "You're a rut, and I'm a rut buster, and I'm gonna bust your rut," which is a joke about the male reproductive organ. These 4 concepts, marriage patterns, sexuality, sexual attitudes, and practices, and primary group, all relate to relationships. The difference between these concepts are primary group relates to a non-sexual relationship, but friendship is still very important to the main theme. Sexual relationships do remain dominant throughout the series. For example, the roof of Ted's apartment is labeled by the group as a magical place that can help anyone get intimate with a partner. Relationships are a constant for these 5.